Hello and welcome. Today we've got Tom Bushnell, who does all the numerology and 5D synchronizations. Now, just before we begin, I would love you all to subscribe to our Telegram channels, our YouTube and BitChute channels. The links are below in the description. And also to my new platform, nicholasveniamin.com, where I'm building a platform for we the people to bring back the power to us, we the people. If you're watching this, actually, I was going to say if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, the link will be in the below for the full interview. But I've agreed with Tom Numbers that if we keep on the straight and narrow, for obvious reasons, I will be posting the full interview on YouTube. Now, Tom, welcome. How are you? And where do we begin with the new numerology in the last week with everything that's been going on?
Hey, Nick, it's really good to see you again, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, we'll keep it on the straight and narrow. I like that phrase. That's awesome. And just for those that are new, maybe the first time you've seen me and Nick, is we're going to talk about the numbers. And what we mean by that is A through to Z or A through to Z, 1 through to 26. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4. And we're going to add up the value, numerical value of words, places, names, etc., etc. And my followers on Site Club, which is my channel on YouTube, come over and follow all of Nick's links and come and join him because he's got lots of great content. So awesome. So yeah, this week, Nick, the last week has been really quite amazing. We've had Easter. We've had we've seen all the stuff around the canal. Did you see that Jeff Bezos' ship was up there yesterday?
I heard about it. Let's speak about that more. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting because his ship is called what's it called? Fighting Fox. Is it called Fighting? Is it Fighting Fox? Just remember, straight and narrow. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep it. So it's curious. Let's put it this way. It's curious that his yacht, interestingly enough, comes to 57, which comes to the word moon, also comes to the word Tesla, Nikola Tesla with the Trumps. But they've said that it's stationed or it's parked. Mm-hmm. Is that the correct word? It's docked, it's anchored, not far from the Ever Given, the Evergreen ship in the, now it's called the Great Bitter Lake. So there's some interesting numbers on that. So you've got this, those are the geography, you can look it up, but we know that a couple of weeks ago, the tanker was it had gone sideways and it was blocking the Suez Canal. They removed that and they moved it further north into this kind of lake area that's still part of the Suez Canal before it gets to the Mediterranean and out into the sea. It's called Great Bitter Lake. Some really interesting numbers on that, Nick. So great comes to 51, which comes to Jasara, which is what we're looking forward to going into globally. You've got Nasara, Jasara. Bitter, interestingly enough, comes to the value of 74. 74 comes to the word Jesus, comes to the word Messiah, comes to the word Muhammad. It also comes to London, where you and I both are. It also comes to President Trump's age. We know President Trump is age 74 right now. So there's a lot of metaphors and a lot of interesting pointers. But actually, interesting enough, I've said before, but President Trump is the king of pointing. So he always points, and the word point comes to 74 as well. But the word bitter in this Great Bitter Lake comes to 74. The word lake comes to 29. 29 also comes to the action of turning something on. So when you switch something on, it also comes to the word calm. So you think of the phrase, the calm before the storm, perhaps. And also, 29 also comes to Diana.
Right.
Now, I've been getting a lot of numbers in regards to Diana, Princess Diana. But when you add all of those together, Great Bitter Lake, so 51, 74, and 29, it comes to 154. Now, 154 is very interesting because you might not remember this fully, but you know that when Diana passed back in 97, but you know the history of that. One of the phrases that she was known by in the people's hearts was the Queen of Hearts, which is one of the top cards in the deck of cards. We know President Trump is the global galactic croupiers playing all these card games and sports all at the same time to defeat, the
virus.
Yeah. To invite the what?
To defeat the virus.
Okay.
The invisible enemy.
Yes. Yeah.
But we'll keep it straight and narrow.
Yeah, we'll keep it straight and narrow. You might have to bleep that one out, Nick.
I've got to practice too, don't worry.
Yeah, I can bleep that one out. So anyway, to defeat them, which we know is pretty much done, But so it's interesting, this Great Bitter Lake, the Queen of Hearts, also the word, or two words, the revelation. So we're wondering perhaps there might be a revelation around that. We've been hoping for that, the last couple of weeks, and maybe there still will be. Another word that came to the word revelation, which is 121, is there was a boat, a US naval military boat came up, and it was the Eisenhower. Mm-hmm. And Eisenhower was one of the presidents many years ago. And I did the numbers on Eisenhower. If I remember correctly, Eisenhower comes to 121, which comes to revelation again. But really interesting is the phrase golden jubilee comes to 121. So you had this boat, the Eisenhower, going along. And then you've got the revelation, which is 154, which is the Great Bitter Lake, and also Queen of Hearts, Diana. And the reason I think of Diana with this is just across the lake. It's quite a big lake, but across the lake on the west side, there's a town or village called, maybe even a city called Fayed. Now, Fayed was the guy that was going out with Diana at the time of her passing in 1997. So Dodi Fayed. Yeah. So you've got all these things are pointing to certain things, and it's like, oh, this is getting interesting. This is bubbling to the surface. And one of the drops actually made reference to when do you need a plumber? I don't know if you saw that one in the community, but they talked about when do you call on a plumber? And there's a connection between the Eisenhower ship and a plumber. And I looked up the word plumber. Plumber comes to 87, which actually comes to the word truth as well. And I started to look at that further. So you've got 121, revelation, the Eisenhower boat, but then also the connection with plumber. So the truth, revelation, truth, the revelation, Great Bitter Lake, Queen of Hearts, Princess Diana, etc., etc. So there's a lot of things they're pointing to. It's like we understand what could perhaps be shown out of there.
Yeah.
And we're waiting to see that. And they keep teasing us. They keep putting these things of boats coming up and coming close and going past. Two grounded yesterday, apparently, for a few hours. In again, the Suez Canal. And that's never happened for years and years. But we had the big one a couple of weeks ago. And then we had two yesterday. Now they've moved on again. So they're teasing us. There's something brewing there, And another thing that's interesting is you do the numbers on Dodi Fayed. That comes to 73, which comes to the word Egypt, which also comes to the word children. So it makes you think of all of this stuff that's here in regards to the boats and the tankers. And so they are teasing us, Nick, and maybe they're just getting the world, trying to wake up as many people as possible to see this before they reveal, or in whichever way they do reveal. They've got lots of options. It's like a world-class sportsman or world-class chess player. They've got multiple options, multiple routes. So they might say, okay, look over here, but then they could be doing something over here, and that's the thing that maybe sometimes we might get confused on. But it's fun to watch and decode the things that they're putting out. That's all we can do, see what they say, see what the signs are, and just work them out.
Yeah. So, we've got new followers and listeners, and, and a lot of them are wondering, when we do the numerology with certain, key flag words that are very relevant to what's happening in politics and all this movement. Yes. And then you number them, and then you say, right, this stands for that. Well, yes. Some people can argue that this is a coincidence. So could you please explain more about how this 5D synchronization works and the timelines and all of that? Please explain it. Yeah.
Yeah. So first thing, because I get that question a lot, and I automatically understand most people when they ask that, haven't actually done the numbers. Because as you do them, you start to understand. It's like if I can't speak French and I say, oh, French is easy to learn. It's like, well, okay. When you start to learn it, you start to understand it. So when people ask that, first off, I understand that they haven't looked at the numbers. So the best thing for people to do is start to do their own numbers, i.e. their name, their friends, their family, their surname, their places that they live, etc. And then they'll start to build up a bit. But the way that it works, because it's like a kaleidoscope. The more I move into it, the more I see the power of it. And it opens up more and more. So when people say, oh, that's just a coincidence, Charlie said that many times, like when you get 10s, 20, 30, hundreds of them, I've got thousands of them. When you build that database of these numbers up, then you know for sure it's not a coincidence, but it's a higher dimensional thing. Another thing as well is I've been blessed and fortunate to have orbs appear in my videos on certain keywords. Particularly when I've talked about the Kennedys, I've had orbs whiz behind me. Not all the time, but there's plenty of evidence on my YouTube channel so people can see it for themselves. And there's plenty of orbs. And I'm not, it's just me on my phone. I'm not as technical as you. It's just me doing my stuff. So there's other things that confirm it as well and confirm the synchronicities. I'll give you another one. So the key to this is if you know the word Trump with the numbers, it's 88. 88 is the double infinity wealth number, resurrection, regrowth number. So it's a super powerful number. And you'll notice even things like in sports, the word sport comes to 88. But another one that I found just recently and got reminded of yesterday is if you do the numbers, Vladimir Putin, so Charlie's been telling us that Vladimir is working closely with President Trump, along with President Xi of China and also Modi of India. Okay, so that's one of Charlie's things that he's been saying for a long, long time. And the word Vladimir comes to 88, which comes to Trump again. And if you do Putin comes to 87, which I mentioned just earlier about the plumber part, comes to 87, which is truth. And you add Vladimir Putin, so 88 plus 87 comes to 175, which comes to the value of the word consciousness. So you've been talking about 5D consciousness and the synchronicities and how you can show that. So there's no mistake, from my understanding, that the key players on this galactic chessboard that we're witnessing, President Trump, President Putin, they all have these divine numbers and meaning within their names. And Putin is just one of them. And so Moscow comes to 88 as well. And we don't hear that much about Russia per se, or we hear disinformation, but Russia's been a really key piece to this puzzle and this operation with the alliance with President Trump and all the other good leaders around the globe that have been doing this. So my in summary of that, my thing would be people just work out their own numbers and take your time on it. If we have a product, you'll see in the links, it's called Trumpology. You can download it as a workbook and an audio course. And I slow it down really slowly and methodically so people can understand it and do it at their own pace. But I get hundreds and thousands of comments on my channel, people saying, oh, it's great, and they love the numbers and they've got the workbook, and they go through that. And they're testimonials from people that have understood and benefited from the knowledge of the numbers. And the numbers is a language. I've been fortunate to be blessed to understand it and keep understanding it. But it's a universal gift for everybody that has the patience and time to learn it. And it really changes your reality. What it does, Nick, is it connects the 3D to the 5D. That's probably the best way. That's what it does. It connects the two,
The way I understand it, because I used to think, Trump comes to 88, right?
Yes.
But then I could turn around and say, well, his mum never knew that he was going to be president, and she could have chosen, and the family name could have been different to Trump, and exactly. All that was a coincidence. So why does it, mount up to a number that means that word? But what we're saying is that all this, the person that chose the name and then he became a president, it's not a coincidence. This is the timeline. This was meant to be by the fifth dimensional galactic federation realm, if you like.
You got it, Nick. It was foreordained. It was predestined. President Trump was chosen way back at the beginning of this game that we call life. However long it's been going on, he was chosen. That's why he's even mentioned in the Bible and other scriptures and other prophecies about the Trump of the last days. His name's on the tin. His name's on the can. Trump. It's like it's been there forever. And a couple of other values. Just for example, you talk about Trump. So if you do Donald Trump, Donald is 50, which is America, interesting enough. Add 88, which is Trump, comes to 138. 138 comes to a few values. One is the Savior. One is revaluation, and we've been talking about revaluation. So Donald Trump is bringing in the revaluation. The names are the same, 138. It's not another value, it's 138. If you look at the pyramids, so we had that thing in Egypt just a few days ago where they moved all the mummies around. Big ceremony to reverse time, to reverse things that have been going on for centuries and millennia. The phrase, the pyramids, comes to 138, which again is Donald Trump. The religious landmark, the Dome of the Rock in Israel, which is a focal point for Christianity, Jews and Muslims, comes to 138, Donald Trump. The revaluation, the pyramids. There's lots of these things. And if you know the number, the value for gold, it's 38. So 1 times 38 equals gold. If you take President Trump's full name, Donald John Trump, it comes to 185. The word silver comes to 85. So 1 times 85 equals silver. So President Trump has gold and silver in both of the ways you can say his name. And you said President Trump. President Trump comes to 198, which comes to the resurrection. We just had Easter, and he's going to resurrect people, but also the world, and bring it back to life the way it should have been. We've been in a death state. Now we're coming back to life. So his numbers are off the scale, and there's loads more that I could go into, but there's some examples, Nick, and they like you said, it was chosen by the Galactic Federation or the 5-dimensional or the God, if you want, whatever you want to call it, the higher beings, the higher life force chose President Trump to do this work,
So what would Joe Biden's be? Would it be traitor?
That's very good. That's very good, Nick.
I just guessed. I don't know.
The interesting thing about that, so that's a good question. So what I've noticed with it is I very rarely focus on the dark side of stuff. But I do notice when certain ones come up, and Biden is a case in point. So
straight and narrow, yeah.
Straight and narrow, yeah. Straight and narrow. So the naughty ones, they actually understand the power of numbers. Okay, and so they have tried to use it in time that's gone by. So they talk about 33 or 66, and all those numbers are great numbers, but they're inherently were hijacked, as with everything. It was infiltrated over time. But that's all being changed and restored. And I'll give you some examples. So 66 comes to woman, comes to freedom. So if people freak out about 66, they've got a problem with half the world's population. And freedom and the word happy all come to 66, which are all great words. And Biden, interestingly enough, when you do Joseph Biden, comes to 107.
107?
Which is a powerful number, you see.
No, I said 107.
You did say 107, yeah, exactly one. And he also comes to Castle Rock. So we know that Joe Biden, the character, the actor, or the actors that are playing, to wake people up, to see how ludicrous all of this is, his number's actually 107. So Trump's got him in his pocket, because the word Trump's is 107 as well. So you see that. So the powerful ones on the other side have similar numbers. Because they realize, and then it comes to people like, and then they freak out. But what it comes down to is your intention and your focus. That's what it is. That's why I know the numbers in this narrow bandwidth of good consciousness, but it's expanding all the time. So that's how it is. That's what it is,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, it's been fantastic having you on. It's been great. We should do this again sometime again soon. Is there anything that you would like to say to the listeners?
Just be happy, be happy, be 66, be happy, be happy. Know that things are coming good. And you mentioned
don't say it.
Pride. Okay.
If we want to put this on YouTube, we have to be straight and narrow, right?
Okay, I won't say it. But basically, you were saying that certain leaders, good leaders, have said, we're getting close. We're getting close. So as and when that is, we don't know. Our job is just to keep the faith, keep everybody buoyant, happy, give them good information, support them, and let the big guys do the work. They've already done it. It's up to them when they reveal,
I'll say it ambiguously, because the listeners now are probably, very curious. Well, what was he going to say?
Yeah.
Basically, someone asked a general, are we going to have to wait till October, November? And he said, I don't think we have to wait that long. So I think you all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So let's see. Anyway, well, it's been fantastic, Tom. Thank you very much. And we'll catch up again soon. And God bless.
Nice one. Cheers, buddy. Thanks, Nick. Take care.